My husband's a builder and he did a few renovations, and what was coming out of the renovations was lovely old timber, rimu and kauri, and just quite lovely materials that were getting binned, and I just had to start processing the materials, making art and functional pieces from wood. But then I was also collecting wood from beaches. There's lots of local beaches here that treated timber washes up on, old fence posts. But as I was collecting it, I was also noticing lots of plastics, and it didn't feel right to leave the plastic there. So I started collecting the plastic. So I collect it, design a sculpture, and then make the sculpture out of the materials. I've been trying to experiment with ways of joining the plastics to make them into what looks like high-end art. So rather than just gluing them onto a background, sort of joining them so they're making a more cohesive sculptural form. The microplastic Plankton sculpture came about from a collection of plastics from my house, from the community, from the beach. It grew from experiments of how to join the material, how to make an interesting looking sculpture, and eventually it grew into a hanging installation to take up space and create an experience for the viewer to walk around and see the different shapes within it and the different techniques that I use to join it. And at the same time I was learning a lot more about plastics in the environment and the degradation that they cause. There was an image that I came across on the internet, and it was a plankton that had ingested a piece of microplastic, and that's at the bottom of the food chain, and it's just raised alarm bells. Pretty much the whole food chain's affected by this plastic waste. So I decided to name the sculpture Microplastic Plankton, just to raise awareness. As people look at it, they might initially think that it's interesting, and then they might think, oh, what's it made of? And then, oh, why is it named that? I approached Pukeariki and asked them if they would be keen to have a sculpture donated to them, and fortunately they were, which was fantastic. It's also interesting to think of the piece of plastic sculpture being studied in a museum environment and seeing the boundaries of the material, because this material is with us for potentially a long time, we don't know. So it gives museum staff an opportunity to monitor the material and its degradation or how long it lasts.